Let's get into the video. My parents disowned me when I got pregnant at the age of 18. Now they want to be back in my life, and I don't know what to do. TLDR, my parents cut off contact with me when I got pregnant at the age of 18. Right now I am pregnant again, and I'm guessing after hearing this, they decided they wanted to be back in my life again. I'm confused about what I should do. Should I give them a chance, or is it just not a good idea? A lot of people have been asking me if my parents asked me to marry my boyfriend so that technically, when I was born, I would be married. The thing is, the moment I told my then boyfriend, he proposed. I know it was not a very well thought out decision, but it felt right, and I love him. So I know for a fact that it wasn't because we weren't going to get married that my parents did this to me. Another reason why it doesn't make sense that they thought he would abandon me, TBH. I'd appreciate any advice. Thank you. I got pregnant when I was 18. It was our fault. We didn't really always use protection, and I got pregnant. I realize now that it was a very stupid thing to do, but it also gave me my life's greatest gift, our beautiful daughter. When I told my parents, they responded very aggressively. I knew they wouldn't really be supportive of the fact that I was keeping the child, but I also didn't think they'd threaten to cut me off if I didn't get an abortion. But I just couldn't do that. I'm pro-choice, but I just couldn't. So they decided that they would not talk to me at all. Just no contact. Needless to say, I was devastated, but I still feel like maybe some of it was my fault. Like I disappointed them. But despite all this, I still had an amazing support system. My husband's parents took us in until we saved enough to get our own house. My friends were incredible, and even my mom's family helped me. Until my daughter's 3rd birthday, every year I would send them Christmas cards, birthday cards, her pictures, etc. And I wouldn't get any response. Eventually, I moved on. Almost 2 weeks ago, out of the blue, my parents contacted me. Actually, they just showed up at my house. They told me that through a relative, they found out that I was pregnant with our second and wanted to be there for me. Thankfully for me, my husband was home, so I wasn't alone in dealing with them, which was good considering how emotional I got. Both my parents apologized. They broke down and told me that they wanted to be a part of my life again and that the only reason they cut me off was because they were scared and hurt. I had to leave college because I couldn't manage being pregnant and studying, and apparently that was the breaking point for them. Plus, they thought my husband wouldn't be a good father and would leave me to be a single mom, and they were scared for me. Right now, I'm confused. They seemed genuinely sorry, but what they did was so huge too. They literally abandoned me when I needed them the most. My husband's mom was more of an actual mom for me than my own. But on the other hand, I keep wondering if I'll regret not giving them a chance, especially since now my daughter can get to know her maternal grandparents. This goes for my second child as well. Both my children could have a real chance at getting to know their grandparents, but I don't know if that's a good idea. My husband wants me to decide. He told me that he trusts me enough to make the right choice for our family, and he's right. He's too biased to make a proper decision, I suppose. My mom's side of the family thinks I should completely forgive my parents, while my in-laws and friends don't think that's a good idea, and that they might treat my daughter differently than my second child. Please help me out. I need unbiased and rational answers because I'm an emotional mess. Comments by OP. You should look up grandparents' rights in your local jurisdiction. If you let them into your life, it might be difficult to get them back out again, and they probably have a lot more money for lawyers than you do. My husband is a lawyer, so we're always prepared on that front. There is no such thing where I live, so that's good. ETA, my parents don't have the money or resources to do anything against us anyway. Honestly, now that I think about it, I'm inclined to assume that they want to be back in OP's life because she's married now and this new baby is legitimate. Either way, F them. Okay, wow, I didn't even see it like that. That might be true. Just, wow, they don't owe you anything. You were an adult who chose to make an adult decision. Do you know how many parents in this world get stuck with their immature child's baby while they go out and reinvent themselves or go out and recapture their young lives again? We are only hearing one side of this. The OP could have been a really wild and defiant kid. Sure, it seems like it worked out for her, but who knows how it would have been if they intervened, because it seems like they didn't like the guy at all. We didn't know her personality at all at that time, either. Was she a good kid, a wild kid, or a troublemaker? I think they did her a favor by letting her grow up with her own decisions and owning that S&T. It sounds like she's grown up and responsible now. She might be hurt, but she won't be able to relate until she is posed with the same scenario. Also, the in-laws should stay in their lane. Keep their opinions to themselves. They are completely biased. Remember, your parents didn't like their son, so they are not going to be forgiving or impartial. You are right, this could be one of those situations, but it's not. I was raised in a strict household and never wanted to disappoint my parents. I was shy and could barely stand up for myself or speak loudly. My parents would make every decision for me. Literally, the only wild thing I did when I was still living with them was sneak out to the library so I could read Kafka because I wasn't allowed to read things like that. Such a stupid rule now that I think about it. I am still pretty shy, and it's still hard for me to stand up for myself. I'm just glad I have an amazing husband and a great support system. I wasn't going to reply to you at all until I reached the in-laws part. My in-laws are the best people I know. When I was scared and had nowhere to go, they took me in. They saw a frightened child and decided to choose kindness. During the first year that my husband and I were married, the first year with our daughter, it was very hard, as you can imagine. It wasn't the money because my husband got a great job, but the fact that I was living alone at the age of 19 with a newborn. And you know what? I needed my mom. I needed her, but she wasn't there, so my mother-in-law stepped in and loved me instead. My in-laws gave us so much support and love. They helped raise our daughter, and she adores them. So you know what? They can form opinions and have things to say about my life all they want. I love them, and they are incredibly caring. They only want what's best for me, my children, and my husband. You are right about them being biased, but how could they not be? I'm wondering if they are avid churchgoers. My neighbor threw his pregnant daughter out, and I took her in until she was able to get herself settled. It wasn't a big deal. I had the space, and she was absolutely no trouble at all. She's a lovely girl. Her father came to my door shouting a use at me, and I called the cops and prosecuted him. She never went back there to live, but she visits, mostly to see her mother, who has been bullied to within an inch of her life by that horrible man. Of course, he's a pillar of the Catholic Church, but he's not a Christian. You will be right in assuming that, but so are my in-laws, actually. They were extremely kind about the whole situation, though. Update. I would say that this is a happy update, but not a lot of people would take it that way. Just a TW. Someone said I should add that in case I trigger anyone. So I don't even know how to put into words what happened after I made that post. It is wild. At first, I was not even going to post an update, but so many people have been messaging me, and so many of you helped me beyond words. So I feel like I owe it to you. After going through the comments, I was, first of all, so grateful for this community. TBH, I didn't expect so much love and great, rational advice. I was just lost, and you guys helped me. This community is fantastic, and I thank you all so much. Second of all, it gave me a lot to think about and helped me make a good decision. Update, parents didn't like that. I wanted to take it slow. My brother tried to physically attack me. We kicked them out and will no longer have any contact with them. A day after I made the post, I had gotten enough helpful advice and reached a decision. I thought it would be a good idea to let my parents have dinner with my husband and me every 1 or 2 weeks because, like a lot of you suggested, I thought it was best for them to first form a healthy relationship with me and my husband before I brought my daughter and future child into this. I invited them over to my house. I didn't mention this in the last post, but I have a brother as well. He has had some minimal contact with me over the years, but he despises my husband, so there is also not a lot of contact. I invited all 3 of them over, and I told them about my decision, and guess what? They did not like the fact that I didn't just accept them with open arms. My dad started yelling about being grateful, mom was insulting me, and my husband and my brother looked like they wanted to end me. Then, after I told them all to get out, my brother came up to me, grabbed my arm, and pushed me against the wall. He almost seemed like he'd end me. He kept repeating that I was disrespecting Dad, but before he could hurt me more, my husband punched the living hell out of my brother. He kind of got scared then. I guess he thought my husband wouldn't go so far. He beat him up pretty badly, and we kicked them all out and threatened to call the cops. It was scary, and it still feels unreal. So yeah, I am just glad that they showed me their true nature once again and didn't waste my energy. After that, my husband was concerned about the baby since I hit the wall pretty hard. We went and checked, but the doctors said everything was fine, thankfully. Not an update, but just how I feel. I am weirdly glad all this happened. No more what if they changed, and no more wasting energy on people that are not good for my family. After that whole incident, everyone was clearly stressed. So I organized a small barbecue get-together. I invited our best friends, their kids. My daughter loves hanging out with them, our in-laws, etc. My mother-in-law was so sweet. She talked to me the way I wish my mother would and made me feel so much better. There was a specific moment that I wanted to share with you guys. At the get-together, I had gone in to get some beers for our friends, and I was heading back out when I felt the urge to just stay there and watch my husband. He was standing there by the grill talking to his friend, laughing at some joke, when my daughter came running, yelling, "Dad, look at this pink flower," and she was such a giggly mess. He took her into his arms and gave her a kiss. In that moment, I knew what life was about. I don't care that I don't have my parents or brother in my life. I don't care that they are not there in my life because, honestly, their loss. I love my family, and they are my priority. Thank you again, everyone, for helping me. You treated me like I was someone you knew instead of a stranger. Thank you. Comments by OP. The incident at dinner is why it's recommended to do these kinds of meetings in a public place. I'm glad you're safe, and it wasn't worse than it was. Never waste another moment on them, and have a happy life with your family, which actually matters. I so agree. My husband even suggested it for this exact reason. But me being extremely dumb told him that they would feel more welcome if we invited them to our home. That was clearly a stupid move though. I'm glad things worked out. But please be a little careful until you know if your biological family won't retaliate. I don't know if you have a Ring doorbell, but you might want to get one. Definitely. The relatives I did stay in touch with are speaking to them because, obviously, what they did was absolutely cruel and cold. They told me they'd take care of it. We are being extra careful though. Thank you for watching the video.